Bar muscle up or rings muscle up? Which one should you start with? If you have the proper basics and completed the tests I showed you in my previous videos, then you're definitely ready to start learning the muscle up. But on which equipment? I tell you what you need to know in this video. What's up guys, it's Adam from gymnasticsmethod.com. If you don't want to miss my videos about bodyweight training and lifestyle, please subscribe and click on the bell. Thank you. And if you want to get access to all the Gymnastics Method workout programs, tutorials like planche, handstand or muscle up, nutrition guide, daily workouts and much more, click the link below and join now on gymnasticsmethod.com. So, the muscle up is a very impressive demonstration of strength, especially if you do it in the perfect form. The most important thing to know about the muscle up is that a pulling and a pushing movement are both in one exercise, so it's 2 in 1. The muscle up consists of 3 main parts: the pull up, the transition and the dip in concentric and eccentric movements. This exercise develops your upper body strength perfectly and builds mostly your back muscles, arms, shoulders and chest. I recommend the muscle up for everyone who does calisthenics or bodyweight training. You can perform this exercise on the bar and on the rings as well. But which one should you start with? Long story short, on the rings. You should start on the rings. I will explain why. Let's see the advantages and disadvantages of both versions. Before we start, I'd like to draw your attention that I talk about the perfect forms of muscle ups. So no chicken wing, swing or keeping, what we usually see in the park or in the gym, and since they can cause serious injuries, I'd like you to avoid all the shown demonstrations. Also, when I will talk about the bar muscle up, that won't be the slow motion, strict bar muscle up, but the regular muscle up with a little momentum that's needed for the right and smooth execution. So in both versions, we should consider the following aspects: grip, pulling, transition and pushing. Let's start with the rings muscle up. People usually say anything you do on the gymnastics rings is 2 times, 5 times or 10 times more difficult than doing it on another equipment. And it's kinda true because the rings are unstable and it's more challenging for your nervous system and you need to activate more muscle fibers to stabilize. But it's also a better development for your muscles, you can get more gains. The rings count as an extra equipment to own since you can't find it in every park, but if you invest in only one equipment for your fitness goals, I would definitely say to get the rings. You can really get on the next level with the rings and you can install them even at home, in the gym or in the park easily. In most cases, you can do many exercises, even the muscle up from sitting, which you can't do if you don't have a good bar. Let's follow the points we made before and talk about the grip first. The perfect rings muscle up starts with the false grip. This grip is crucial if you want to have an easy transition. For the first time, it might look difficult and weird, but if you pay attention to wrist mobilization and strength in your warm-up prehab routine, you can get it in no time. You can check out my videos on wrist preparation in the prehab series on this channel. If you need progressions to master the proper false grip, check out the muscle up tutorial on gymnasticsmethod.com. So after you grab the rings with false grip, you need to be able to pull up yourself in the full range of motion. If you have the false grip, it's easy because of the position of your hands, it's more like a chin-up. The point is that on the rings, you can do the pull-up slow and controlled, unlike on the bar, because there you need to be more dynamic. If you need help with the full range of motion, try this test or check out the how to do pull-ups video on the channel. In my opinion, the transition on the rings is easier because you can move the equipment so the leverage is not that long like on the bar. On the other hand, here you need a little bit more shoulder mobility, which is not that big of a difference, but worth to mention. The rings dips are always more difficult than on the single bar or parallel bars since the rings are moving, so you need more stabilization. The difficulty of the rings dip also depends on the length of the strap. The longer the strap is, the more difficult the dip is. So this will be the rings muscle up, and now let's talk about the bar muscle up. Compared to rings muscle up, the bar muscle up is more about explosive strength. Technique is also really important, but for this one you need more pulling strength than on the rings, and this is a huge difficulty itself. For the bar muscle up, you need a real pull-up bar with space over the bar, so you won't be able to do this at home with a door pull-up bar. Sometimes it's hard to find good bars in the gym since most machines have different grips and no space above the bars. However, most parks have good bars where you can do the muscle ups easily. I'll share my experience in a bit, but first, let's go through the points. The grip is normal overhand grip, including the thumbs, and I recommend a little bit wider than shoulder width. Grip strength is an important factor. For the more explosive pull-up, you need a strong grip. For this, you can also find a video on the channel. Here is the huge difference compared to rings muscle up. With the proper technique, you need to use a little swing in the beginning, and to go over the bar, you need a pretty explosive pulling strength. So before you're about to practice the bar muscle up, it's better to pay attention to your explosive pull-ups. Not only in the full range of motion, so chest to bar, but more. To be able to do the muscle up, you need bar under the chest or as deep as you can. I would say belly to bar. The deeper you can pull up yourself, the easier the muscle up will be. I'll tell you why right now. So when it comes to the transition part, the bad thing is that you can't move the bar under your shoulders like on the rings because it's fixed. You need to have the momentum from the pulling and lean forward to get over the bar. And it's not easy. It's mostly explosive strength and of course technique as well. So since the bar is fixed and you can't change the length of your forearms, you need to have the momentum and the right technique to get your elbows over the bar and to be able to do the dip. Also, this explosiveness is really important for your wrist health because you need to be able to rotate your wrists before you get into the support. Because of the lack of that explosive strength and the right technique, people do chicken wing and out-rotated elbows to make the movement easier. This feels natural because once your elbows are above your wrists, you can do a dip, but it's really risky for your shoulders and looks awful. So if you get over the hard part in the right way, the single bar dip is pretty simple. If you have the basics, this is gonna be easy. Alright, so let's summarize what we know. On the bar, you need to do a simple overhand grip. The force grip on the rings is more difficult, you need more preparation. The pulling movement is easier on the rings because it's kinda like a chin-up. On the bar, it's more difficult because you need to do explosive pull-up. On the rings, you can control the transition more easily because you can move them. However, you need a bit more shoulder mobility. On the bar, basically it's harder because the longer leverage, so you need more powerful pulling strength. The dip on the rings is more difficult because the rings are unstable, but it also depends on the length of the strap. On the bar, it's a simple straight bar dip. Okay, and I have already told you, you should start with the rings. But why? As you see, the pros and cons are equal, but the extra pulling strength and technique in the bar muscle up make the whole exercise much more difficult. Maybe it's surprising, maybe not, but without exceptions, the rings muscle up was much easier to learn for all of my students, period. Our experience is that the explosiveness in the pull-up is much more difficult to improve for most people than learning movements with the opportunity of control, slow execution, and getting a little bit more flexible. So even the force grip is obviously more difficult than a simple overhand grip, and the dip on the rings is more difficult because of the unstable equipment. The pulling and transition with control are such big advantages of the rings muscle up that all of my students learned that first. I also had many feedback from readers of my books in Hungary that they experienced the same. So if you have the opportunity to use gymnastics rings, I recommend to start with that one. It will be a great and quick success after you have the basics. Most of my clients learn the muscle up on the first session after the primer programs that you can find on the link below. That's also a point that I wanted to make. If you start to train based on a system and your training includes a warm-up, joint preparation aka prehab, strength block with the right execution and stretching, the rings muscle up will be ridiculously easy, and I'm not exaggerating. On this channel, I basically followed this structure so you can learn a lot from these free videos. But if you need more help, you can find everything on my website where I can help you personally in the private group. So if you don't understand something, you have specific issues or questions, I will be there to help. And by the way, using a structured system, the bar muscle up would be a lot easier too. To be honest, most people struggle with the bar muscle up because they can't even do a few pull-ups in the full range of motion. And this is a huge missing link. So, my conclusion in general, start with the rings muscle up. If you're interested in the 5 key points of the perfect rings muscle up, check out this video on the channel, it will help you a lot. But if at the same time you want to start working on the bar muscle up, which is really possible if you have the basics, check out the 2 most forgotten exercises for the perfect bar muscle up. Remember, These are my advices and experience with my students, but let me know what do you think or what is your experience in the comments. And if you're interested in the complete, proven to work gymnastics method system, you want to learn all the most effective and iconic gymnastics and calisthenics exercises with the proper sets and reps, and you want to get the shredded physique of a gymnast, click the link below and join now on gymnasticsmethod.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did so, please like, share and write a comment what do you want to see in the next videos. If you don't want to miss the new videos, subscribe with notifications on and see you next week in the next video.